Hey guys, what's going on? This is Travis P11. I'd like to welcome you back to the channel. Well guys, today we're going to go ahead and do a quick tabletop review of the Ruger American Rifle Ranch Edition, chambered in 7.62 by 39. Now I know if you check my channel, you'll see that I've done several videos on this rifle. I've been asking manufacturers to come out with a low-cost 7.62 bolt-action rifle for a long time, and Ruger answered that call, and I am absolutely elated to get my hands on one of these. I did purchase this with my own funds. It was a combination of my own funds and also funds from the revenue that the YouTube channel's generated, so thank you guys for that. And again, it's got a lot of awesome features too. We're going to go through some of the specifications, and again, even though I've only had it for 3-4 days, I shot the heck out of this thing yesterday. Several different types of ammo, different distances, doing some accuracy testing, and I was very impressed with what I saw. So while I don't consider myself an expert on this, I'm hoping maybe I can steer you in the direction of checking one of these out, at least maybe trying one or borrowing one from a friend, or seriously considering picking one of these up. So let's just go through some of the specifications right now and talk about the pros and the cons of the rifle, because believe it or not, there's just a few little things about the rifle that didn't impress me 100%, but I still like what I saw. All right, so here we go. In the interest of safety, let's go ahead and ensure that the firearm is unloaded. Check the chamber. We're empty. Go ahead and drop out the magazine. Empty. Now, one great feature about this rifle is the fact that it has a stopper on it for the bolt, a follower stopper or whatever you want to call it. So if you try to close the bolt and you're out of rounds, it won't close shut. So that way you know that you are in fact out of ammunition. All right, let's go on. Now, the majority of the information that you're going to hear here does actually come directly from the Ruger website. There's just a few things that I discovered about the rifle on my own. First of all, let's go ahead and just start at the rear of the gun and just work our way towards the front. The stock itself does come in a flat dark earth color or finish. The overall style, Ruger tried to go with a modern, ergonomic, yet classic look when it comes to the stock. In the hand, I actually found the stock to be very comfortable, whether I was bipod shooting or just simply holding the stock in my hands, or when I was also using it on the lead sled. It was not hard to find a comfortable position all the way around. Your length of pull does measure 14 inches from the front of the trigger to the rear of the buttstock, and the rear of the buttstock does feature a shock absorbing pad, which aids in more comfortable shoots. I gotta say, this rifle definitely has a lot more bark than it has bite. It thumps, but at the same time, you really don't seem to feel the recoil as much as you might expect. Let's go ahead and move on to the bolt mechanism, as it's one of the most important parts of this firearm. So what you have is a 70-degree throw, which gives you ample clearance for many different styles and types of scopes. We're just running a basic center point 4x16 by, I don't know, 40-45 millimeter aperture scope. Scope ran great, no problems whatsoever. But the bolt itself, in order to release the bolt, what you're going to do is push on a little tab on the left side, kind of like the Ruger Precision rifle. And when you push that tab in, your bolt will come right out. There we go. Now, the bolt itself, it's a one-piece, 3-lug bolt. Okay, with the 70-degree throw, like we mentioned before, it does feature a full-diameter bolt body and dual cocking cams for smooth, easy cycling from the shoulder. When I was sitting at the bench and I was trying to cycle the rifle, I had to get up to cycle it because the low bench position and the high shooting position of the lead sled made it really difficult for me to push the bolt in without moving the entire rifle on the lead sled. So if you watch my test fire video, I did have to get up and manually cock it every time. It did feed the steel case ammo with no issues. I noticed very little difference between brass and steel case while actually sitting and doing my test firing. Very sturdy bolt. I have not taken this apart yet to clean it. I do want to do that. The design looks somewhat similar to my Remington 710. Obviously the geometry is just a little bit different, but very sturdy, nice finished bolt. It's polished stainless steel and or aluminum. It does have a rear polymer piece on here. I kind of wish that this was steel, but this may have something to do. This may be removed when you have to disassemble the bolt. Like I said, I'm not sure, but a very robust, hardy design. Okay, we'll go ahead and put that back in, and we'll move on. Now, the firearm also features a rear tang safety, which is very easy to operate. It's very smooth. It does have a nice sturdy finish to it, which is great. The trigger itself, it does feature a Ruger Marksman adjustable trigger. When you take the upper receiver and the barrel out of the stock, you can see the whole mechanism. Now, I've not done any trigger adjustments yet, and unfortunately, I do not have a pound weight scale to measure how many pounds of pressure it takes to activate the trigger. It is adjustable between 3 and 5. It might be set at 3.5 pounds or 4 pounds from the factory. It's just, you've got your little safety blade that you push in, and then you basically have no creep, and then safety's on, and then there you go, you dry fire. Very simple, very easy. I would like to lighten up the trigger personally, because I think just sitting at the extended range sessions, after a while you start to feel how that extended pressure does somewhat affect your accuracy. So I'd recommend a lighter trigger setting, but that's just me. As for the actual material of the receiver and the bolt itself, it does feature a cold hammer forged barrel, which we'll get to in just a moment. It does have, again, the free floated barrel and the bedding, the power block bedding, which allows the receiver to basically mate to the stock, but allows the barrel to clear the front forend of the stock so that it is essentially free floated. Again, it is an alloy steel material for the upper receiver. Now, the lower magazine well is polymer. There's polymer all throughout the firearm. You do have this polymer paddle release. And that's where one of my first criticisms comes in here. I find it just a little bit difficult, and maybe it's because I'm just not used to it, to properly seat the magazines and get them in. You have to really kind of push on the back and slide them in the front. Just not quite as smooth as I would hope, but really you can't complain about it for what it has to offer you. And we'll also talk about the Mini 30 magazines, which you can use in this gun too. All right, let's go ahead and move on. I found the Picatinny rail system to be a very solid mount. It does bolt onto the top of the receiver. Had no trouble whatsoever mounting a scope on the top that had Weaver rings. I know some Weaver mounts do fit on Picatinny rings, and this one was great. You're looking at about probably about a 6-inch rail with several sections that you can use, engraved with the Ruger logo up on the top. Overall, not a bad fit, and overall finish has been very good. Oh, we should probably talk about the cycling of the bolt. The cycling of the bolt is very smooth. I mean, it's not bad. Okay, you know, we're not talking about, CZ grade here, but for the money, very easy to use, very little effort in order to make it run. It's a nice, hardy, robust design that I think is going to stay up to lots and lots of use. Okay, quick correction I'd like to make, in case I didn't mention this before. It does have a 5+1 capacity, 5 rounds in the box magazine. The Picatinny rail itself does measure 5 inches long, and so that might help you with your own plan if you decide to buy this rifle and you want to put some sort of optic on the top. Now, the barrel itself is an awesome barrel. Okay, it's a 16.12 inch long cold hammer forged barrel that does feature threading on the ends. The thread pattern is 5/8 of an inch -24, and knowing that in mind, you'll be able to pick yourself up some aftermarket suppressors or muzzle brakes or compensators, whatever it is that you're into. You can definitely customize this rifle to make it your own. It does feature 1 and 10-inch right hand rifling with 6 grooves. Overall length of the rifle is 36 inches, and in case I didn't mention it before, the rifle does weigh 5.9 pounds, 5 pounds and 15 ounces. Now, it does not come with a bipod. It does, however, come with your sling swivels. You just got to get yourself, or it does have the studs at least, you get yourself the mounts and pick yourself up a sling, and you're basically going to be good to go. Now, let's go ahead and move on and talk about the accuracy of this rifle. And what I'm going to do is go ahead and weave a little bit of shooting footage in with this video and talk about the targets and ammo, and we'll just the overall experience of the rifle, because I spent the whole day with it. It's an awesome rifle, and we'll talk about what you can get out of it. So when I took this rifle to the range, this was the first time I'd ever fired it before, and I have very little bolt action rifle experience, even though I've been shooting guns for over 25 years. Just a whole lot of, I tend to find a few bolt action rifles that I like, and I stick with it. I actually measured my groups, and I had a viewer point out the fact that I might not have been measuring the groups properly. There is a little formula you can follow where you measure the width of the group and then you subtract the diameter of the bullets and so on. What I came up with, if we just strictly go center point to center point on one of the best groups that I could fire at 100 yards with a bipod, with my experience on a very windy day, targets that were moving with just 7.62 by 39 PowerPoint Winchester ammo, was just a shade under an inch. I think it measures up to about 0.90 of an inch when you go from center point to center point. Now, when I do this test next time, I'm going to be taking some much more serious hunting ammunition with me out there, something that's a little more precise and so on. So on the left-hand side here, you should be seeing some of that shooting footage of some of the different groups that I shot. Obviously, I shot better with the lead sled than I did when I was shooting with the bipod. Shooting steel case, however, I was shooting just 1 inch or slightly over 1 inch groups at 100 yards using Tula. So that right there is also one of the big pluses of the rifle, is going to be the ammunition. So we'll get on all the different pros and a few of the cons here before we go ahead and wrap up. I actually had fantastic results with just some of this brass case 123 grain full metal jacket target ammunition that I picked up at Walmart for 15 bucks a box. Actually grouped just as good, if not a little bit better than the PowerPoint overall. So I think if you get into some custom hand loads and really learn what works best in this rifle, you'll have lots of good luck. Okay, let's just go ahead and have a few closing words, and we'll finish this one out. All right, so let's just get right into it, guys. Pros and cons with this rifle. What do you need to know? Pros, cost. Even though it has an MSRP of $599, I paid $434, I believe. In some places you can find it as cheap as about $411, and that was before tax. Now that only includes one 5-round magazine. It does take the 20-round Mini 30 762 by 39 magazines, as well as the 10-round magazines at the same time, and that actually adds a lot of flexibility to this firearm. That's another pro. If you have a Mini 30 and you've got magazines floating around, it'll work for you. And that magazine, the follower stop, also does the same thing on those capacity magazines too. Other bonuses about it, other pluses about it are going to be the ammunition. I mean, the fact that you can get 40 rounds of Tula at your local Walmart for $10 pretty much puts us on par with the same cost per round as a lot of your 5.56 or 223 Remington ammo that's out there. Maybe even just a little bit cheaper. You know, you're going to pay a little bit more for hunting grade ammo and target ammo, so that's something that you need to keep in mind. Rumor has it that Magpul is going to be coming out with the stock for the Ruger American Rifle, and if they do, it would be so cool, and this is one of the cons, it would be so cool if they made a stock that would take PMags. That would just be awesome, because you can get, what, 10, 20, 30 round PMags in 762 by 39. You might correct me if I'm wrong on that, but it would have been awesome if this could have been engineered to take AK rifle or AK magazines. With just however many people have AK-47s out there that are going to buy these, they probably have quite a few magazines sitting around. And I can understand maybe from an engineering perspective, there's so much variance in AK-47 magazines and tolerances. You don't want a wobbly mag and a nice precision rifle, so I can see where they're coming from. But again, it just would have been kind of cool if they would have gone that route. So those are just the cons. The trigger's fine, the action is fine, the weight is not bad. Now granted, it's kind of heavy with this big scope on the top, and I'm looking at maybe going with something a little bit smaller. But I mean, overall, the whole package itself is just a wonderful rifle. And again, for anybody that's got an AK-47 floating around, I can see them picking one of these up just as a truck gun, or a fun gun, or a varmint gun, or a deer gun. I mean, there's just so much you can do with this. Again, pros are great, cons, just the magazines, and that's pretty much about it. And if you can find them, and if you have an ample supply of them, and you don't mind paying $20 to $30 a piece, stock up on the Mini 30 magazines for this rifle. I think you can't go wrong. So there you go, guys. Just a lot of excitement when it comes to shooting. Oh, last thing. There's a lot of groups that I fired that had 2 shots overlapping and then 1 shot that was off to the side, especially when I was doing the bipod shooting. Part of it was excitement for me when I would overlap 2 rounds at 100 yards. I would get so excited, I'm like, I'm gonna do that again, and then end up shooting about an inch off to the side. So with enough focus, with enough concentration, with a steady enough hand, I have no doubt in my mind that you could overlap 3 shots at a time. And by the time I was shooting this thing, this barrel was heated up, and I'd been putting plenty of rounds through it. I stuck around and did, I don't even know how many magazines, just shot after shot of steel case ammo, shooting gongs and steel targets at my range. I was just testing it out on everything, and I was having a great time. So I'm hoping I can bring it back and do some longer range precision shooting with it, see what it can do after 300 yards. I don't really see myself going beyond that with this rifle, and from a hunting perspective, you might want to maybe go 308, 30-06 if you're going to go out past 300 yards, but that's just my opinion, all right? So yeah, I'm hoping to get this out for more tests. But again, I know I have not had the rifle for a long time, but it's one of those rare times where I pick up a gun, kind of like my Beretta 92 FS video. It just feels good in your hand. It just runs, it just fires. I had moments on this thing where I was looking through the crosshairs and I said, you know, I'm gonna put a bullet right through that bullseye, and I did. All right, I know that seems kind of Zen hippie-esque, but when you find the right gun and it's comfortable, you just love to shoot it. It's a joy to shoot, and that's part of the excitement of owning a rifle like this. It's just what you can do with it, guys. All right, so anyway, this is Travis P11. Please like or subscribe. This has been my little tabletop review of the Ruger American Rifle Ranch Edition because of the shorter barrel. Bolt-action rifle. I'm sure I forgot something. Please ask questions down in the comments and let me know. And guys, I hope you enjoyed this tabletop review. I just wanted to get it out there. And I think that's about it. So guys, you can follow me on Patreon over at patreon.com/TravisP11, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, gunchannels.com, and also on VidMe with TravisP11, my other channel where I basically repost all my YouTube videos. And guys, that's about it. So it's just my new favorite rifle. I'm going to put a little bit lighter scope on the top, not keep the bipod on it, just go strictly with the sling, and it's going to be a perfect little truck gun. Oh, and lengthwise, it's just a couple inches longer than your standard carbine length AR-15 with the stock fully collapsed. It's just a couple inches longer, so it really is a compact package. I know it says 36 inches long, but it really doesn't feel much longer than 36 inches. I mean, the thing is just awesome. So anyway, very light handling and a fun little rifle. There you go, guys. Please like or subscribe. I want you guys to have a great week, have a great weekend. Get out and do some shooting. Take a friend with you. Go out and do some shooting. And in the meantime, guys, I want you to have fun. I want you to be safe. And as you know, we will talk to you soon. All right, take care. Bye.